Hello, I'm Dylan Teener. Welcome back to CNN Student News, where today we'll be talking to a retired teacher from Northwood Middle School, Mrs. Hirschberger. We will be talking to her about academics, athletics, and history about the school.
I taught in the old building, and it was a K-8 school. It wasn't just a middle school. And so they had all the little elementary kids there along with the middle school up to 8th grade. And it was no air conditioning, so in the summer it was extremely hot. We didn't have screens in the windows, so we had lots of flies and bees, and I remember one time coming to school and there was a bat hanging from the ceiling. So it was an old building and it had a lot of issues in that old building, but it was a great building. It was fun.
I get bats in my house too.
Do you? All the time in the classroom for the number of students that you have, and the hallways. I remember the hallways in the old building, they were really narrow, and like these hallways are so much bigger. And bathrooms, we only had, I can only remember 2 main bathrooms with like 4 or 5 stalls in them in the whole building. So everybody was using those bathrooms. There might have been another set of bathrooms down where the old elementary section was, but again, it was so many students trying to use one set of bathrooms, and it was crowded all the time. The hallways were crowded all the time. The rooms were small. I kid you not, I could stand at my board and write on the board, and I could touch the desk of the student in front of me. There was just no space. I mean, we were crunched.
Wow.
And like no air, oh my word. I can remember the heat of the summer, sweat just dripping off of me. You know, in August when we would first start up, it was miserable, and even part of September. And every once in a while, we'd have a hot spring, and you know, it was just very uncomfortable. And you know, when it gets 90 or 100, and you're trying to teach, you know how you feel. I mean, even the kids, it was hard for them to pay attention. You know, they were uncomfortable. So this is such a great, vast improvement. Your library, I'm sitting here in this library, looking at this library, and your library is probably 2 or 3 times the size of the one in the old building. Our cafeteria, I bet our cafeteria here is 5 times the size. No, I'm probably exaggerating, but I just remember it was really, really small. They had all the lockers in the cafeteria. So when we took I-STEP tests, they all took them in the cafeteria, and nobody could go to the lockers because when they'd open the lockers, it made all that noise, and it was just a really different facility. This is just so much nicer. You guys are really lucky that you guys have a building like this. It's a beautiful, beautiful building. I'm trying to think what else. I remember the tunnels. I told you about the tunnels. We didn't have, well, I shouldn't say we didn't have 2 stories, but there was only 2 classrooms upstairs in the main part of the building, and then there was 1 or 2 classrooms by the old gym where you guys are having your class right now. That was all the upstairs there was. You didn't, like, we're all upstairs. All your 7th grade and all your 8th grade are upstairs. So there wasn't hardly any classrooms upstairs. They were all on the main level. The office was right when you walked in the door. Yeah, I'm trying to think what else. It was funny colors. When I started working there, it was colors of like in the 60s and 70s. It was bright oranges and olive greens and yellows, and it was kind of funky colors. But yeah, it was different. Orange, I remember orange.
That makes you wonder, were we always Panthers then?
No, it was Walkerson Indians. It was Walkerson Indians. We did not become Northwood Panthers for the middle school until you guys built this new facility. Maybe they called us Northwood Panthers when the 2 merged. I feel like you guys merged before the facility was done.
That would have really sucked.
But you know, the Northwood, you'd be Northwood High School, Northwood Middle School. I remember they ordered locks for all of our lockers, and they never came in. And we wondered if they didn't send them into Northwood High School because of the Northwood thing. You know, I thought that was a little confusing. But, you know, I think it's good that you become a Northwood Panther young, you know, when you are in 6th grade. and then you stay at Northwood Panther all the way till you graduate. And I think that's a good thing. But it was a little confusing, new lockers. And let's go upstairs, because I think upstairs are the old lockers. Renovation, when they brought the middle school kids over. But again, it wasn't, they needed a new building. So once they decided to do the new building, they decided to try to salvage what they could from the old building. So they brought the lockers from the old building here, and they're upstairs. So the ones downstairs are new, and these were in the old building. Let's walk this way, maybe I'll find something else to show you. All the way around, there was kitchens. And so they call it FACS class, Family and Consumer Science. Excuse me, I need water. And there used to be all the ovens and refrigerators all the way around, but looks like they removed some of that. They've taken some of those away.
They went to the high school, so when theirs at the high school home
Okay.
when it's broken or need replacement, they've taken some of those.
Okay. So there is that opportunity to take it again at the high school, but they did have it at middle school. They always had
Okay.
art, home ec or FACS class, and then industrial technology, which would be what you have with Mr. Wegmiller in 8th grade. Where he has like the machinery and things
Yeah.
like that.
Tech. I
And
think it's
then
tech.
Industrial tech.
industrial technology, yeah. Trying to think what else, but anyways, that's different. I mean, this was built for that. It was built for home ec, and then of course, again, through the changes, like I said, when they eliminated teaming and when Wani was having some financial difficulties, as people retired, they tried not to replace them. And when Mrs. Klein retired, they retired the home ec lab. So you got to always make cookies. I remember her having, they'd make cookies and then they'd have like competitions. You'd come in and you taste a little bit of everybody's cookie and pick who you liked the best. It was fun when I first started. And of course we talked about the old building that was here before this building, and we kind of went outside and kind of talked about where it was. I said that building was so old that like I had no screens in my windows, so we were constantly flies, bees.
That's
Horrible. And then one morning I came in, there was a bat hanging from the ceiling. So it was, yeah, and no air conditioning. Oh my word, it would be so hot. I would just stand there teaching and sweat would just drip, drip, drip off of me. And the kids, of course, when it was that hot, could hardly function. I felt bad for them. Yeah. I'm trying to
Interview
think
with
what
Mrs. Hirschberger, a retired teacher from Northwood Middle School. We talked to her about the athletics and the history of our school, which is really starting to get old.